Okay, awesome sauce. We are live. Hey, good morning. Whoops, that one fell off. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Swahili Sunday, depending on where you're listening from. I have a Instagram up here on a tripod that wanted to just fly off, so I'm glad I got that set back up. And then if you're listening after the fact, thank you for listening. Today I'm sitting on the couch. I wanted to go to church live today, but was unable to do that. Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody joining here on Instagram. Um, but my back is, yeah, inflamed this morning, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because we've been doing some extensive physical therapy and that's causing it, or if it's just part of the problem. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how to negotiate your faith. I always like to use the word negotiate because of my book, Think Like a Negotiator. How to negotiate your faith in the face of the unlikely. Okay, what do I mean by the unlikely? Well, there's this Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is the confidence of what we hope for and assurance of what we do not see." So there's a point of having faith where you don't see what's going on. For instance, what we're doing in Kenya, we have faith that those things are going to progress to a certain level. We see things beyond what's happening, but we don't see it in the natural. So you have to have faith that if you go on the path and do the work, that it'll come to fruition. But what about the unlikely? Like, for instance, my back, a few weeks ago, I shared that I probably won't be able to ride a motorcycle again because of my back. I'm actually wearing a shirt today that says Ski Maribel. Maribel is a ski resort in France, and I was an avid skier for many years while I was in the military and even beyond. But 23 years of running, that's how I used to stay in shape, has kind of jacked my knees up. Thankfully, they're not too bad, but I can feel that, yeah, it's very shaky. And then with my back, I really can't ski anymore. Is it It's unlikely that I will ever ski again. And it may be unlikely. For a minute there, I was thinking, because I had found a really great physical therapist that's helping me get my core strong. I started to reevaluate my diet to see, because I usually am fairly good about not eating inflammatory foods, but I've been eating way too much fat in my diet, and I know we need some fat, but not as much as I've been eating, because it's caused a little bit of expansion that I don't like, and that happens to you when you get older. And I can say it's not unlikely that I will um, be able to fit in some of the clothes that are uh, tight on me right now, but it is unlikely that I will ever ski again, ever ride a motorcycle again. I might not even be able to jet ski. I was somebody who was very, very active, did a lot of things. I hiked, I did jet skiing, I've water skied, snow skied. I've been to many different places, done many different things, a lot of activity. And the fact that my back, like right now, the lower part of my back and my spine is just throbbing like this, and it actually hurts to sit. It feels better to walk than it hurts to sit. I'm grateful that I can still walk. Um, Actually, with my back issues, I could probably get a handicap placard and park in a handicap spot, but the fact that I can still walk, and I'm able to walk upstairs. So I'm leaving that I was sharing that with a friend the other day, and she made a good point that you're leaving that for somebody who really does need it. I mean, I might need it at times, but I'm okay. So I'm saving that for somebody who really does need it. Oh, hey, good morning to you too from the US, Italy. That's good afternoon. Yeah, it's Italy. In Italy, it's the afternoon. So the how do you negotiate through the unlikely, that it's unlikely that something's going to happen, but you have faith that it might. My back could end up getting healed, and I might be able to get back on my Harley and ride. I probably won't do I don't I the reason I said I could not ride anymore is because to me it was unsafe because the pain was over in the hip joint and it would not dissipate from there. And you have to put your feet down and you have to do a lot of movement when you're riding. You have to lean into the turns and to do it properly. And to me, I thought it was a safety issue for me to ride like that. But then when I found a good physical therapist, I thought, oh, well, maybe this is changing, but it's unlikely, but it's not impossible. And so the fact that I've had to reduce a lot of my activity and I'm not able to do some of the things that I was able to do. Obviously, I had to give up skiing. I attempted to ski again a few years ago, and my knees were just could not take it. And my back wasn't as bad as it is now, but I'm certain I couldn't ski now, and that was something that I really enjoyed. Could I go on a snowmobile? Maybe, not sure if the bouncing would be good for my back. Like with a jet ski, okay, maybe I can't jet ski, but could I get on a paddleboard or could I maybe get on a kayak? I should be able to get on a kayak maybe. And then if I can't do it myself, there's double kayaks where somebody else could do most of the work so I wouldn't injure my back. Or I could go out on a boat. I could do something to get out on the water. I can still go to the beach and take my dog there, but so navigating the unlikely, it's unlikely that I will definitely never ski again and maybe do some of those other things that I was able to do, but it doesn't mean it's impossible, and you can still have faith that it to kinda turn it over to God and let him work it out. Just like with, relationships, like I haven't I'm single, I live alone, I have my actually got my dog Indigo because of the, um yeah, I have 2 well, I had 2 cats. I only have 1 cat now, she's 17. Our cat George passed away, uh, about a month ago, and it's I'm just now kinda getting used to him not being around. It was weird for a couple of weeks coming in and expecting him to be there, and he's not, and, um, Meow Mix is 17, but she's showing no signs of going anywhere anytime soon. She's a cantankerous little thing. She's actually laying, um here by my legs. If I could sit up and reach her, I would, but it just, hurts too much right now. But so I've been single for a long time, and it's unlikely, based on results that I'm going to end my life with somebody, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible. But loneliness is an epidemic in the US. I don't know about other parts of the world, but definitely in the US, it's an epidemic. Being lonely, being alone. As a veteran, it's easy to isolate. I had that problem when I first got out of the military because the military is a different way of operating. And if you haven't been in the military and you don't understand a military person's mentality, coming to Los Angeles was not the place where a lot of people would understand that military mindset unless you got around a bunch of military people. So, and because of some of the things that I went through in the military, I isolated, and I think I got involved in things like going to seminars and um, being part of big mastermind groups and stuff just to be around groups of people, and that was fun for me. But still, at times, like they'd all be downstairs or whatever after the event, and if I was staying in the hotel, I would sometimes go upstairs and just. Of course, I do need my downtime. That's something, especially as a speaker, I used to do. But um, I had to force myself not to isolate because that was something that was easy to do. But then COVID came along, and everybody was stuck looking at people like this. I was zoomed out. But I've noticed that even going back to I've been back to I've done a lot of pop-ups, but that's different than going to conferences or whatever. And what I've noticed is people are having a hard time reconnecting after being alone for so long, but nobody really wants to be alone. And I don't have a big family, so um, my both my parents are passed. I have a sister on the East Coast I don't get to see very often. My uncle passed a few years ago, and I don't see his family much. And but after my mother died, I had lost contact with all my family. So it was like after my dad died, I had no family. I had lost contact with them for about 20 years because when I turned 15, my dad cut off all contact with the family because my sister and her husband were supposed to move to Texas with us, and her husband couldn't get the job, the same level job that he needed to have in order to support the family. So they made a decision not to come, which was a the right decision to make. You can't I mean, maybe you can go on faith, but at that time, he had a really good job with the telephone company, and he wasn't willing to let that go because he couldn't get on with that in Texas. And so they decided not to come, and my father just felt some level of betrayal, so he cut off all contact with them, and that was, before the age of internet and cell phones and that, so all you had was a phone to call somebody, and, I lost touch for, 20 years, from till I was 35, and then found my sister again and my, niece and nephews and my uncle who was still alive and his family. So it was, I went a lot of years without having a family, and then my family is so small and that, I'm not part of any of the extended family. So the nieces and nephews are all on the East Coast, and I'm in California, which is a long way away. And then you have the my cousins here, but they I guess after my uncle died, I just never heard from them again, and I didn't really hear from them much. It was my uncle that always invited me to be part of the family and family gatherings and such. So, th y it's easy when you're alone like that to continue to be alone, but you have to do something. So it's unlikely that I'm going to have a big family. That's probably a given unless I were to get into I connect with unless I were to get into a relationship with somebody that had a big family. But I have friends that have big families that include me in their activities, and I really feel grateful and appreciative of that. So the way that I navigate those things is to find a different path, uh, find a different path. Not to say that it'll never happen in a million years, but you have to look at what you have in front of you, and it's like, okay, it's unlikely that that's going to happen. If it does, that'd be great. But in the meantime, what do I do to navigate that? Am I going to go curl up in a little ball and say, "Oh, woe is me, life is awful"? Like with my back, I mean, motorcycling was my thing since 1996. I learned how to ride a Harley, and I got really passionate about it. I really loved motorcycling. I loved going to the motorcycle events. I loved traveling to places and meeting new people and making new friends. And at one point, I wanted to actually do something in the women's motorcycle industry, and that didn't work out for many different reasons. But I actually enjoyed riding and going to motorcycle events and going riding in the mountain area and the twisty, windy roads. And there's a road not far from where I live called Ortega Highway. If you're in Southern California, you probably know about Ortega Highway. Ortega Highway is a wonderful road to ride on, and then you can go up to Idlewild and Big Bear and places like that and ride around there. I've done that many times. And but I haven't been on my bike other than to ride it around the parking lot the last 2 years, and it's unlikely, unless something really changes with my back, that I will be able to do that ever again. And that's a tough pill to swallow. It's tough to accept that something that was a big part of your life that you just aren't able to do anymore. So what what do I do? I actually got my dog and I got her into dock diving, and there's not a lot of anything that requires of me other than to get her on the dock, have her sit there, tell her to go, and then throw the thing in the water for her to jump and chase after. And it gives me a lot of joy to watch her do that. Or I go to the dog beach and let her run around, especially with my son's dog. He has a Belgian Malinois also. That's what I have, is a Belgian Malinois Shepherd. She's 2 years old. And I love to watch her chase things, and that brings me a lot of joy. So I turned a different corner to do something else that brings me joy, where I can't do the things that I used to do because of health reasons. I can still go swim in the pool and move around. So maybe I'm not going to race down a hill on skis, or zip across the US in my Harley, or zip across a lake on a jet ski. I might be able to do that if I don't hit it too hard, but I used to like to do the really rough riding. But you you have to make adjustments and think, well, it's unlikely that I'll ever do this, or it's unlikely that this will ever happen. Maybe it will, but I'm not going to let it take me down and destroy my life. So for today, I wanted to go to church, but I'm kind of sitting here. I don't think that I'll be able to sit on the chairs in the sanctuary, so it's better for me to sit here and watch it online. Not the thing that I wanted to do today, but I need to take care of myself and make sure that this could just be the problem with we overdid it at the physical therapist office, and I've been hard on the exercises, working to get my core strengthened, because I'm like tired of pain, and I saw some progress. So um, you need to stop. Sorry, it's Indigo's attempting to pick on Meow Mix. But so you have to do, I guess you could call it a course correction, or change your course and find a different thing to do while you're waiting for the unlikely to possibly become likely, or while you're realizing that the unlikely is pretty much either unlikely or definitely not going to happen, and you have to make a change so you can still enjoy life and still enjoy the things that I love. Being in the outdoors, I love the wind in my face was great, so maybe instead of that, one day I'll get a three-wheeler. I probably could ride a three-wheeler, because I don't have to worry about putting my feet down and having to balance the bike on with my feet, my legs, and my back. So if you're just sitting there like you are in a car, it might be, obviously you're in a little bit different position. It might be still, I get the wind in my face in a different way, instead of something that I think would put other people in danger. So that's what I wanted to share today. I have Indigo right here. I can do this for Instagram, turn it around. There's the little Indigo. I think she wants to go out. But that's what I wanted to share today, and that's how I navigate or negotiate the unlikely, and still have faith that the unlikely may turn into likely or definite, or it may not, but I'm not going to let it uh, kind of take me down. And so I have different ways that I either course correct or change course to enable myself to still, oops, live a joyous, happy, and free life. All right, everybody, I hope you have a great Sunday. This week on B&B Live, I think Layla and I are going to show some products and do some testing, because we've had some problems with our technology. So we want to run our live show and work with the technology live. So also, we've had a lot of specials on things. The large purses are on special, so go check those out at basketsandbeadskenya.com. If you put in large purses, they are more than half price. They're $42 on the website. They are now $20, and they're also $20 the ones that are at Fairtrade Long Beach. So you can go check those out, or make an appointment to come see us at our studio in Santa Ana, our showroom and studio in Santa Ana. Just give me a PM and we will make that happen. All right, everybody, I will see you soon. Naku Panda.